The following video is intended for mature audiences. It contains horror elements, adult themes, and language that might not be suitable for younger viewers. In the world of modern horror TV, Tate Langdon from American Horror Story, Murder House stands out. Evan Peters' portrayal of Tate combines a sense of vulnerability with a sinister edge, capturing some of the darkest parts of human nature through a supernatural lens. Despite his psychopathic behavior and deceptive appearance, he manages to evoke sympathy from some viewers, thanks to the detailed character development by creators Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. Tate Langdon is shaped by his environment, tragic and deeply troubled. His role in Murder House goes beyond that of a typical psychopath. He represents the hidden violence in suburban America, with his ghostly existence echoing societal traumas. This video will examine Tate Langdon's psychology, explore the social commentary within his character, and interpret the symbolic meaning of his presence in this narrative universe. We'll also discuss what makes him unique among horror villains, and how American Horror Story, Murder House uses him to redefine the genre's conversation about evil, mental illness, and redemption. Understanding Tate Langdon's complexity requires delving into his murky past. Born in the late 1970s to Constance and Hugo Langdon, Tate's childhood was tainted by narcissistic abuse, an absence of maternal warmth that set him on a path toward madness. Constance's controlling personality, combined with her relentless pursuit of perfection, created an unloving environment. Constance's harmful influence significantly affected young Tate, a bright but sensitive child, shaping him under heavy expectations derived from her own unrealized dreams. The dysfunctional dynamics within the Langdon family exacerbated Tate's emotional scars. His father abandoned them. Beau, his deformed brother, was kept hidden in the attic. His sister, Adelaide, was also neglected. This unhealthy family environment left Tate isolated in his suffering, with his later actions reflecting an urgent cry for love, recognition, and relief from internal pain. However, while Tate's early life provides context for his later actions, it doesn't excuse them. The trauma of neglect and abuse may explain his anger, but it doesn't justify the horrifying violence he later committed. As a teenager, Tate's dark side surfaced with his fascination with death and destruction, escalating into one of TV's most terrifying violent acts, a school shooting. Tate's mental state is complex and horrifying. He struggles with feelings of worthlessness, rejection, and rage. His actions throughout Murder House, from the school shooting reminiscent of Columbine to the brutal murders within its walls, showcase a mind disconnected from reality. One interesting aspect of Tate's character is the stark difference between his outward persona and internal turmoil. He presents himself as an intelligent, sensitive young man, capable of genuine moments of vulnerability, as seen through his relationship with Violet Harmon. But this soft exterior hides a horrific reality. Tate's mental health is severely compromised, suggesting severe psychopathy or dissociation. His behavior often appears impulsive and remorseless, particularly after the school shooting, where he seems unaware of the violence he inflicted, indicating a detachment from reality typical of severe psychopathy. However, labeling Tate merely as a psychopath simplifies him too much. He's filled with self-hatred, a recognition of his inner darkness that he can't ignore. Sometimes he seems to despise what he's become, adding another layer to his character. Tate's desire for redemption, mainly through Violet, shows that he isn't completely without conscience. He isn't just an emotionless killer. He's a broken soul trapped in a cycle of violence looking for an escape. This duality, his ability to show both kindness and cruelty, makes Tate one of the most compelling and disturbing characters in American Horror Story. He represents both victimhood and villainy, a character whose actions are undeniably monstrous, yet whose suffering deeply resonates with viewers. In many ways, Tate embodies the darkest aspects of the human mind, those parts we attempt to repress, but can never completely escape. The American Horror Story series is known for its sharp social critique, and the character of Tate Langdon is a powerful representation of this. He symbolizes the hidden cracks in suburban America, stemming from underlying issues like violence, repression, and mental illness that exist beneath the surface of middle-class life. Tate's character encapsulates the growing disillusionment and anger among young Americans. His school shooting incident, a clear nod to the Columbine tragedy, reflects the escalating violence in American schools. While his exact reasons for this act are unclear, his feelings of isolation and rage are evident. He represents a generation feeling overlooked by a seemingly uncaring world. His violent outburst is a desperate attempt to regain control of a life where he feels powerless. Tate also critiques the American family structure. His strained relationship with his mother mirrors larger societal problems related to parental guidance. Constance's selfishness and neglect reflect how parents can unknowingly cause emotional harm to their children. Tate's descent into violence can be linked back to emotional abuse endured at home, making him a symbol of the dire consequences of parental neglect. Moreover, Tate's actions highlight society's failure in dealing with mental health issues. Throughout Murder House, it becomes clear that Tate's mental health struggles were ignored or poorly managed. His increasing instability was dismissed, leading him to spiral into unchecked violence. In this way, he embodies America's flawed mental health system, which often overlooks or inadequately helps those suffering from severe mental disorders. While Tate's past and psychological state explain his violent tendencies, it is his ghostly existence in Murder House that turns him into an ominous figure. The Murder House itself is an important character. It's a purgatory where spirits are trapped to endlessly relive their traumas. In death, Tate becomes more dangerous than he was alive, as he isn't limited by human constraints and can manipulate and terrorize without fear of retaliation. His presence is a constant reminder of the house's dark history. However, his ghostly existence also symbolizes the inescapability of trauma. Like the other spirits in Murder House reliving their past horrors, Tate is bound to where he committed his worst acts and must face the consequences forever. A key part of Tate's character is his relationship with Violet Harmon, the teenage daughter of the family who moves into Murder House. They bond over shared feelings of alienation and depression, forming a central storyline throughout Murder House. Initially, Tate seems genuinely affectionate toward Violet and tries to protect her from the dangers of the house. But as the series progresses, it becomes clear that Tate's love is twisted and possessive. His actions, especially his choice to hide his past from Violet, reveal his manipulative nature. This dynamic mirrors broader themes of control prevalent throughout Murder House. Tate's love isn't redemptive, but another expression of his need for dominance. In the end, Tate's love turns out to be as destructive as his violence, trapping both him and Violet within Murder House. Tate Langdon stands out in the horror genre. He's a perplexing mix of victim and villain. His life is marked by neglect and sorrow, stirring sympathy from viewers. Yet, he also personifies a ruthless killer, committing horrifying acts of violence. This contradictory nature makes Tate an unsettling figure on screen, challenging our standard views on good and evil. His character defies easy classification. He isn't purely good or entirely evil. Instead, he exists in a gray area that keeps audiences guessing. A key aspect of Tate's uniqueness as a horror villain is his ability to control both the living and the dead. His ghostly form frees him from life and death boundaries, making him almost all-powerful within Murder House. This absence of physical world limits gives him an eerie power over his victims. Furthermore, it's Tate's ability to provoke both fear and empathy that makes him such an engaging yet frightening character. His charm and vulnerability pull audiences in, causing them to empathize with him, even as he carries out horrific acts of violence. This emotional depth sets him apart from more one-dimensional horror villains, who are typically defined only by their capacity to incite terror. In essence, Tate Langdon embodies some of our darkest human traits. He reflects the traumas that shape us. He signifies the violence that lurks beneath society's facade. He illustrates how our pasts inevitably affect us. His character captures one ultimate horror. Evil isn't always outside, but can live within each one of us. This psychological depth, combined with his supernatural abilities, make Tate Langdon a formidable force in the horror genre. He's not just a villain. He symbolizes our traumas, the hidden darkness within us, and the inevitable existence of evil. By mixing vulnerability with wickedness, his character breaks away from the traditional horror villain mold to create a complex and terrifying figure that continues to unnerve audiences even after the series concludes. In the end, Tate's legacy is one of fear and tragedy, punctuated by the unsettling realization that real monsters aren't those lurking in dark corners, but those living within our minds. This harsh truth solidifies Tate Langdon's position as one of the most unforgettable and menacing characters in horror history. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.